Welcome to Schloss Leopoldskron, which is the home and headquarters of the Salzburg Global Seminar. My guest has been participating in a seminar on women and economics. Denice Kronau, you are the Chief Diversity Officer of Siemens, and it would seem to me that you are pretty much a high flyer in your career. And I'd like to know how you got from the University of West Virginia to being the president and CEO of a large corporation.
Thanks, Tina. It's I think a lot of my family would like to know how that worked out as well. It's really by asking why not every time I was offered something to do. Why not? Let's try this. Is it interesting? Is it motivating? Is it something new? Is it something different? Does it get me energized? And so it's really asking why not. I was talking with someone tonight and I was explaining that most of the jobs I've had didn't exist before I had them. So even if I had a plan, because I often speak to students or emerging leaders about, how do you have a plan? We need a plan to be a CEO. And I said, I had no plan. I was just open to trying new things.
So do you feel that this is true of any young woman that thinks, well, I don't really have a plan, but I have an aspiration, so let's go for it?
I think it's true for people who know what makes them happy. So if you know what makes you happy, and you know what you get your energy from as a human, I think things work out. I mean, that's my observation. The people I know who've been successful, who are at tops of companies, who have been successful not only by their own standards, but by society standards, they tend to be pretty clear about what they like, what they don't like, what they're willing to do and what they're not willing to do. It doesn't make it right for anyone but them, but they really are very self-aware on these topics. And then they stick to it. They don't question. I think the other thing that I've done that's worked for me is I cut myself a break. I make a decision in the moment based on the information I have. And if 3 weeks later I was wrong, I don't go back and beat the Denice from 3 weeks before up. What's the point of that? I didn't know that then. I did the best I could at the time. And when you do that, that's pretty liberating in making decisions.
It's a very positive approach to life, I would say.
It helps. You can be dark or you can be not dark.
Is this your first visit to the Salzburg Global Seminar to Schloss Leopoldskron?
It is. It's
have
really.
You enjoyed it?
I have enjoyed it very much. It's for me, it's like learning another language. I was saying to Linda Tar-Whelan about so many of these folks I wouldn't come into normal contact with. I'm in business, I work for Siemens, I tend to be at a lot of business conferences. And so to be with folks who are educators and folks who are at the UN or the World Bank, who are trying to make a difference 20 years from now, 30 years from now, really interesting to me. So it's almost a little bit like I'm the minority here because I just don't understand the vocabulary, and it's really eye-opening.
Well, I'm sorry to have to tell you that if you look across the lake from the Schloss Leopoldskron, you will see a large, rugged mountain, the Untersberg, and you are soon to be abandoned there.
Okay.
You are going to be alone on the Untersberg. But you will be able to have with you 3 works: art, literature, drama, entertainment, which relate in some way to women.
Okay.
So what is your first choice?
Okay. If I'm abandoned on top of a mountain, there's 3 things I probably need. I need humor, because I'll definitely need to keep my sense of humor now that I'm up there. I'm going to need, if I'm abandoned, I probably have some free time finally. So I want inspiration. I want to think some big thoughts that I never get to think when I'm running around during the day. And then I need hope, because I hope I'm going to get off this mountain sooner rather than later. So on the first, with humor, I think I'll take the entire series of Absolutely Fabulous. And why do I say that? It's a TV show that was done in the UK by BBC in the late 90s and early 2000 by Jennifer Saunders and Joanna Lumley. And it's 2 women who were spectacularly crazy and funny all the time. But it's their interactions with themselves and it's their interactions with the world around them, and they're aspiring to be, for example, they lived near Shepherd's Bush, but she always insisted it was Holland Park, and a more upscale neighborhood of London. All of it was just always funny. So that's what I'll take for humor.
Well, I'm going to be very generous and allow you to take an entire series rather than one episode.
Please don't make me pick an episode.
I won't.
Thank you.
But now we've had humour.
Yes.
Now, inspiration, you said.
Inspiration.
What will inspire you?
I would take the book written by Anne Morrow Lindbergh, which is called A Gift from the Sea. And it was published in 1955. And Anne Morrow Lindbergh was an aviator in her own right, but she was also married to the famous Charles Lindbergh. And she wrote this book. She went to a little beach cabin that they had, and she wrote this book about being a person and being a woman specifically, and all the things that happen to women. Women tend to multitask and do many things, and lots of stuff going on. And she picked shells off the ground and explained the different aspects of a woman's life as compared to a mollusk shell or a nautilus. And it was just, you read this and it feels like a book that's been written to you by your friend. And there's things that you just want to take and have for yourself. So I would read that again. I would bring that with me.
Do you identify with a particular shell?
That's a great question. I think I most identify with a conch shell, because the little creature that lives inside runs in to be safe, but when he or she wants to move, they have to drag it from place to place. And so I travel so much, I always feel like I'm dragging something from place to place.
And you might have to run into a cave on the Untersberg. So finally, hope.
Hope.
That was your third choice.
Yes, hope was my third choice. And for that, it would be the book by Harper Lee, To Kill a Mockingbird. What I loved about that book, what I really loved about that book, was a father taught his daughter to be brave.
So having said that, I'm going to come a little bit back to the sort of discussions that you've been having with your fellow participants here. Is it important for a woman, a girl, to have a male figure, a father, a brother, a husband, somebody who is supportive, encouraging, so that they're not entirely sort of swimming on their own, as it were?
Yeah, I think Tina, what I find is there's two things. You get women, your closest women friends are family that you've picked for yourself when you really get to know them and have time. And I'm the oldest child of 4, and I'm my father's daughter. And so I look at the nurturing I get from my female friends, family I've picked for myself. But my father taught me to be brave. My father taught me that everything was possible, that there was no limits. And so I approach everything as to why not. I mean, I go back to what I said when we started, which was every job I've looked at, why not? Because why not you? When I was 6, I thought I could be president of the United States. Why not? Now, I wisely picked another course in life because I think that would be really a lot of work. From what I can tell. But the point is I think somehow, I don't know if it's males as much as father-daughter, there's something there, there's a chemistry there that gives you something that you don't necessarily get from your nurturing relationships. Whether it's a braveness, whether it's honor, it's hard for me to articulate it, but I know what I mean.
And Harper Lee, it's a woman writer, I think this was her only book.
I believe it was as well. Spectacular. If you only write one book, write To Kill a Mockingbird.
Like Emily Bronte,
Exactly.
One good one. Now, in the event that there is on the Untersberg a blizzard,
Okay.
and you take refuge in the cave like the conch shell, you'll only be able to rescue one of those 3 works. What would it be?
I would rescue Gift from the Sea.
Denice, thank you so much for being our guest on the Untersberg.
Thank you, Tina.